We can tell that we are living through history. If you've been paying attention at all, you already know that, and you've heard many references to it. The president made history over this weekend with his announcement in writing, and then last night changing the course of the election by explaining it through his first actual address to the nation on the matter. Now, here's how it first went down.
We have breaking news here. President Biden has announced he will stand down from the race.
A sharp turn for history.
He said, "I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down."
Endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris.
It's an incredibly important decision and difficult decision that he made for the country.
That decision for the country was called for by many, but as a practical matter, it was the president's own decision to make. And having made it, it garnered almost immediate and overwhelming shout-outs, praise, and laudatory reaction. People who follow this understand just how extraordinary it is to give up power voluntarily, and given the stakes against Donald Trump, who led an unsuccessful coup, some said it saved the soul of America and perhaps democracy itself. Then the president did, as I mentioned, take a few days, collect his thoughts, and give what is still, you have to remember, a very unusual, rare, and by definition, historic address to the nation. When he spoke last night, it was the first time he spoke to Americans since the news broke this weekend.
I revere this office, but I love my country more. I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. It's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years.
50 years in office. That had been an asset. Indeed, it was what helped the Democratic Party coalesce around Biden in 2020, and he's the only person to beat Trump. But that 5 decades in office had proven to be something that was, in a way, partly held against him, and he acknowledged that directly. White House staffers gathered for the president in the Rose Garden after the speech. You can hear some of the applause. This, again, was a very natural set of moments that everyone's living through. Now, when we think about history, you have to actually go back over the 50 years of service Biden mentioned to a few more decades to find any comparable moment in American history when LBJ left, and that was way earlier in the race during the primaries. There are examples around the globe. Pope Benedict, very different type of office, did something unusual and resigned it in 2013. Now, if you're keeping on the Pope calendar, that was the first time anything like that had happened in 6 centuries, because popes in that office deliberately and customarily serve until their death. Now, in the United States, I'm sure you've heard the comparisons. Some of you may remember from history books or living through it. Amidst the Vietnam War and tumult inside the Democratic Party and the nation, the incumbent president, Lyndon B. Johnson, made an announcement that people initially thought was not possible. It only happened because of a confluence of events, including the protests and then challenges from within the Democratic Party, when he addressed the nation in a televised speech explaining his new plan.
I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president.
As you can hear in the future tense, he was speaking before that nomination was resolved. He'd seen troubles in some of the early primaries. That was March of the election year. The Washington Post noting that LBJ resigned with some echoes that Biden has been feeling. For example, concerns about LBJ's health, discontent over his handling of the war, and competition from fellow Democrats. The Democrats went on to the infamous 1968 nomination. They also faced a lot of other problems that year. Humphrey was picked, and he lost to Nixon. Now, if you go back to the beginning, and Biden had this on his mind last night, you have the way America began, because holding any type of election was a big deal then, and people then thought, well, Washington, who had the military experience and had been president, maybe he would serve forever or like a king or a pope until his death. There was no rule that created the tradition that we have then followed for so many years since then of 2 terms. For winning presidents, George Washington set that tradition. Biden quoting him and saying, Washington showed us, quote, presidents are not kings. That was America's first president. That precedent really shows the power of leadership, which is different than rules or laws. It was Washington's vision, his leadership, that democracy wouldn't just be something that came every 30 or 40 years or that strong-armed generals would rule, but rather he himself trusted this early nascent democracy to figure out its way forward. You may recall the Washington actor, the Washington sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, rendition in the award-winning series, John Adams.
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
It is done. God bless George Washington, President of the United States.
Are we cheering for a person, for a principle, for an idea? That is a question weaved throughout our history. Washington set this standard. Whatever his other failures or foibles, it was a big deal. And when he gave his address leaving, he said, quote, "In the present circumstance of our country, you will not disapprove my determination to retire." Those simple words from a man who often spoke simply set this tradition. They mattered. And they separate America from many other countries that have not been able to find a way to have peaceful transitions of power, which we have almost always had, with the exception of what Donald Trump uncorked on January 6th. Now, you can look around the world, too. In New Zealand last year, their Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, actually shocked the world with the announcement that she was also going to voluntarily give up power rather than seek re-election. She'd served 5 years in the role and gave a candid resignation speech.
I am leaving because with such a privileged role comes responsibility. The responsibility to know when you are the right person to lead and also when you are not. I am not leaving because I believe we can't win the election, but because I believe we can and will. And we need a fresh set of shoulders for that challenge.
These are the few examples we found when you look across the world and across history. And that is a credit and a compliment to President Biden. This is rare, rare stuff. Washington had all the glory 2 terms and set that tradition and is rightly credited for it. Abroad, you see the occasional example. But this cuts against almost all of history of what powerful people do, which is within the rules and the law, they seek the maximum amount of power they can perpetuate. And some of them, as we all know, go well beyond the laws. This is a president who, after listening and engaging with American views and fellow citizens and office holders, did that rare thing. And there's so much going on, it would be easy to forget it or underestimate it or move right past it. It's what he decided this weekend. It's what he explained last night. And it is a moment of living history to credit.